saying? Some of us are out of touch with our weaknesses. God allows the messenger of Satan to torment his apostle by giving him a thorn in the flesh, by giving him a problem. Somebody said that it is a fact of our experience or our experiences that life is a series of highs and lows, ups and downs. In his efforts to get permanent possession of the soul, God relies on the downs more than he relies on the ups in life. You see, one of our successes, I'll put it this way, our successes in life are our greatest threats. We don't tend to look at it like that, but our successes are our greatest threat. Success has a way of telling all of us that we've arrived. We've arrived. And for this reason, God allowed Paul to be humbled by his weaknesses. By his weaknesses. You see, Paul's Jewish arrogance had reached some epidemic proportions as he hunted down Christians, dragging them off to prison. Acts chapter 8. And he attempted to do the same in Acts chapter 9. His knowledge of Jewish law and tradition had taken its toll. Pride had taken its toll. And now God made him humble to reveal his greatest strength. Sometimes God has got to humble us. He has to humble us. See? Somebody says that the most efficient means of ruining a person's character is to grant that person unbroken success. We think success is good and failure is bad. Kind of where we live in. And we believe that we should avoid failure at all costs. What's wrong with these ideas? I'll tell you. They ignore the fact that our God at times uses failure to bring about good. I'll say that again. Sometimes he uses failure to bring about good. He uses failure to drive us to him, to prepare us for future success, to get our lives back on track, to help us to see ourselves more clearly, and to help us to see others more compassionately. Failure, somebody said, keeps us humble. And humility is a good thing in the kingdom of God. Without failure, we would quickly forget who is really in control, who is really omnipotent, who is really invincible. And we start to think of ourselves more highly than we ought to. Someone says, into each life, some rain must fall. Some rain must fall. Some days must be dark and dreary. In Ecclesiastes 11 and verse 8, so if a person lives many years, let him rejoice in them all, but let them remember the days of darkness. They shall be. Remember the days of darkness, but they shall be. Let me tell you something, church. It was the discipline of God's grace that made Paul strong. If you want to be strong in your faith, you don't need the discipline of God's grace. You're not going to be strong on your own. I don't care how much knowledge you have. Because knowledge can get you into trouble. Wisdom will help you. I don't care how much you know. That's not the point. You got to understand that it was the discipline of God's grace that made you strong. God's grace saves. But its design is such that it will not overrule God's law of reaping, of sowing and reaping. Yeah, you're going to reap what you sow. Amen. Grace not going to rule that. Folks have done all kinds of wrong, and then they want to run up into the arms of the Lord and think that nothing, that they're not going to reap what they sow. Yes, you will. God is not mocked. For whatsoever man sows, that shall he also reap. That's what the Bible says. Amen. Let me tell you something. You out here sowing this bad seed. You out here sowing this corruption. You're going to reap sure enough. You're going to reap sure enough. That's right with this man. So the thing is, we have to understand that he must allow us to reap what we sow. And as we reap the harvest of our ways, it ought to make us dependent more upon God's power for survival. All of us got some ways. Everybody in it got some ways. And we're going to reap for our ways. Amen. We're going to reap. We're going to reap what we sow. Now, a lot of them focus on trying to describe Paul's thorn in the flesh. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to get any argument about what that was. I'm not going to do that. It's not important. I don't waste my time, dealing with that. See, the focal point is not the thorn, but it is God's power in weakness. You got to understand that. God allowed Satan to give Paul something that he couldn't handle by himself. You follow what I'm saying? And a lot of times, you and I get something that we can't handle by ourselves. We need God's grace, don't we? He was stretched beyond his limitations, make him realize he was dependent upon the strength of God. And so that was the circumstances. That was his set of circumstances. That's point number one. He had a certain set of circumstances. Everybody got a certain set of circumstances that you got to deal with, and that you're going to have to deal with in your life, and you're going to need God's grace. Amen. Right? Now, let's look at this next one. Here. You got the outline, right? And it says, how God's grace works. Now, somebody asked you that question. Are you able to tell them how God's grace works? That's a good question. And there are folk out here that want to know how God's grace works. We live in days of grace. We don't often think too much about that, do we? We need to know how His grace works. Now, look. Go back to Paul here. He prayed for God to remove his thorn, his problem. And guess what? God refused. He refused. Am I right? Paul was like each one of us. He wanted God to remove the difficult circumstance that he was faced with. He's like us. You going through some stuff. You got some difficult situation that you're faced with. You don't like it, do it. You don't like it, do it. And sometimes you want God, you pray to God, God, take this away from me. You want it removed. Got some pain, you want it gone. I know when I get a headache or something, man, I'm going to take me something to get rid of it. To get rid of that joke. Because I want it removed. Amen. That's how we are. Paul wanted this thing gone. But God refused. And here's the reason why. God wants to reveal his power over the circumstances. You see, the Lord gives us our circumstances to make us dependent upon the one who is the master of every circumstance. We got to realize that Satan and his demons are stronger than us. And God allows us to become so weak that we might depend on his strength. God's grace is sufficient without enabling us to stand alone. You got some jokers that run around and think they're so strong. They're so strong and so full of strength. Nothing can get to them. And all of this and that kind of nonsense. If that's how you are, you need to stop, right? Because you ain't doing nothing but fooling yourself. That's all you're doing. See? Because you see, if we could master our own circumstance, then we wouldn't need God. We wouldn't need God. If you could handle everything on your own, you wouldn't need God. Why would you need it? See? You keep that in mind. In our weakest of moments, there is always sufficient strength in God's grace to sustain you and me. 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verses 4 through verse 6. And let me just read that. And we have such trust through Christ for God. Not that we are sufficient of ourselves to think of anything as being from ourselves, but our sufficiency is from God, who made us sufficient as ministers of the new covenant. Not of the letter, but of the Spirit. For the letter kills, but the Spirit gives life. We got to learn to say my sufficiency is from God. I can't stand just by myself. I can't preach this gospel by myself. My sufficiency is of God. I can't do it all alone. And it's not about me. My strength comes from God. Amen. And we need to start telling ourselves that. That's the way it is. Somebody says, knowing your own strength is a fine thing. It's okay. But recognizing your own weakness is better. Remember I said a few minutes ago, some folk are out of touch with their weaknesses. They don't want to recognize it. They want to pull the wool over everybody's eyes. They don't want you to know about their weaknesses and what they struggle. And they problems. They want to be so puffed up. That's foolishness. That's foolishness. To ignore the weaknesses is better. It's even better. You see. And what's really bad and really hurtful and will finally take us down is mistaking your weakness for strength. Now chew on that for a moment. If God's grace, despite our weaknesses, saves us, then surely the same grace is able to sustain us when we try to do His will. Turn over to 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verses 12 and 13. Now, always are going to have who are not careful, who think that they are just so strong and nothing can take them down. We say those kind of folk, those are the kind of folk that's full of themselves. They're just full of themselves. But look at what the Apostle Paul says in 1 Corinthians chapter 10. He says, therefore, let him who thinks he stands take heed lest we fall. Be careful as you're navigating in life. Be careful. Let him take heed lest we fall. And then he goes on to say, no temptation has overtaken you except such as is common to man. In other words, whatever you're facing, it ain't nothing that's out of the ordinary that man has got to do. There ain't nothing that you're going to face that nobody else ain't faced somewhere on this planet. Right? Well, I didn't have this to happen to me. Well, you ain't the only one.
It's true.
You ain't the only one. Well, I'm going to struggle with this. Well, you're not the only one. Amen. No temptation has taken you, but such as is common to man. Watch this. God is faithful. Remember his grace now. God is faithful. Who will not allow you to be tempted beyond what you are able. But with the temptation will also make the way of escape that we may be able to bear. You see what I'm saying here? When we talk about God, the goodness of God's grace and the manifestation of God's grace, that's another manifestation of his grace. He's going to take care of it. He's not going to allow you to deal with something that you can't deal with his assistance. With his assistance. With his help. Aren't you glad that you have the grace of God in your life? Helping. You got his grace of protection, the grace of forgiveness, the grace of prayer, communication, the grace of providence. Aren't you happy to have that? See? And we need to expose ourselves to these different facets of his grace. Some of us, all we know, Ephesians 2, 8-9, by grace you have not worked. And we know nothing more than that. Yet we experience the different manifestations of his grace every day. He walks with me. He talks with me. And he tells me that I'm his own.
Yeah.
And the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has done it.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer of his grace. And how his grace reaches me every day. I'm in touch with his grace. When I have my problems, I'm in touch with his grace. Have my failures, I'm in touch with his grace. Difficult, I'm in touch with his grace. I'm not out here by myself. I'm in touch with his grace. My grace, he says, is sufficient. And so finally here, we need to look at what we call the paradox. The paradox of God's revelation here in this chapter. You see, whatever we become in this life, or could dream of becoming in this life, it can never compare to the way we see ourselves when we see ourselves as God sees us. Sometimes we don't see ourselves as God sees us. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 12. You see, when Paul is caught up to heaven, the wonders are so great that there are no words to express them. God stripped away the veil of time for Paul so that he could see what God sees. So that he could see what God sees. And then God allows Satan to enter Paul's life to humble him. Now that's what we read first from 2 Corinthians 12, talking about what he saw and the vision and all of that, being caught up to paradise. And then after that, he said, Satan's allowed to buffet him. There was an unfathomable paradox between what Paul saw in heaven and what he was experiencing. You follow what I'm saying? How weak he must have felt after experiencing the glory of what was to be. After the vision, Paul needed the sufficiency that only grace could bring. Vision made him acutely aware of his need of God's grace. It was God's grace that made him realize that his troubles were a gift from God. When he accepted that thorn as a gift, he received God's power to sustain him. Initially, he prayed for strength. He prayed that God would remove the thorn. But eventually, it was his weakness that gave him strength. It's a paradox that sometimes we don't see. You got to look deep at this thing here. And sometimes you got to look deep in your life to see and understand and learn to appreciate what is really going on with me. Only explanation that God gave Paul, my grace is sufficient. That's the only explanation. Our lives, I'll tell you this, are not sustained because we can explain what God is doing. They're not sustained because we can explain what God is doing. Don't come at me here with some stories all the time about this, that. We don't need to hear all that. We don't need to hear all that. Our lives are sustained because we can trust in what God is doing. Though we may never understand his ways. Faith in God allows us to go as far as we can while trusting in his grace to overcome whatever the difficulty is. And let me tell you something. You're going to have some difficulties. Amen. When you were younger, you're living now, you're going to have some difficulties. on the touch of mama and the look of daddy, you're going to need the grace of God to help you. Am I right? That's what you're going to need. And sometimes we need lessons like this to put us in touch with reality. God's grace is real. It's real. It's real. And all of us are benefactors of His grace. You know what God is asking us to do as individuals right now, as Christians? You know what He's asking us to do as a church, as a congregation? He's asking us to persevere. Persevere. And that's why He asked Paul, it's on my grace is sufficient. Paul, persevere. Hang in there. That's what persevere means. That's what it means. Hang in there. Carry on. Stick with the program. And trust in His possibilities. See? And you know what will happen when you do this? God will lift us above our circumstances as He helps to develop our character. Satan appears to be a tyrant who controls our circumstances. He appears to be that. But you know what? In the hands of God, Satan becomes our servant. It works for us. As God overrules His schemes. Because you got to keep in mind that God is sovereign. That He is over, He's in control of the situation. Is Satan buffeting you right now? God is still in control of the situation. You remember Job? Huh? Remember Job? That righteous brother? Satan and God had a conversation. You read Job chapter 1. We talked about this in our senior class. Satan had a conversation. And God told Satan that all that he has is in your power. Just don't take his life. And after that, Job gets afflicted. Oh boy. But guess what? God is still in control. He's still in control. You follow what I'm saying? And so when it comes to you and me, just as it comes to Paul, who had a situation, who had been caught up into paradise and saw all of that glory. And after he saw all of that glory, God allowed the message of Satan to give him the prophet. The prophet. The prophet. To rock him. To shake him. To handle him. Whatever it was. No argue about that. And then he finally told him, hey, my receive His grace. That's a good thing. Because our God gave His Son to die for the whole world. And His Son was Jesus Christ. So the law came by Moses, but grace and truth has come by Jesus Christ. You see, by obeying His word, having faith in Him, Hebrews 11:6, confessing or repenting of your sins, confessing Jesus to be the Son of God, and being baptized for the forgiveness of all your past sins. And God give you the gift of the Holy Spirit, which helps you to live and make it happen. You need God's grace. And grace is contingent upon us obeying His word. Amen? Amen. Amen. So we encourage you to come. We encourage the church to hang in there, to persevere, because God's grace is sufficient. Come and we stand.
Careless soul, why will you linger?